Welcome back to Book Break. It is time for our monthly virtual book haul. If you haven't seen one of these videos before, every month I get an email from Elle, the other half of the Book Break team, packed with pictures and info of some of the most exciting books that we have published in the previous month. So we are now looking back on the month of May, and I can't wait to tell you about all of these books. I don't yet know what they're going to be. Okay, so let's open it up, starting with kicking things off with an explosive one, Empire of Pain by Patrick Radden Keefe. This is The Secret History of the Sackler Dynasty. So back in 2017, you might remember Patrick Radden Keefe wrote a long read article for The New Yorker that was called The Family That Built an Empire of Pain. And it was all about the Sackler dynasty and their ruthless marketing of painkillers that had generated billions of dollars for them and millions of addicts. So that was an absolutely fascinating and terrifying and very exposing article, and this book, Empire of Pain, is him expanding on that with even more research, even more interviews into this whole chilling, mesmerizing non-fiction book. Then we have a happier one, Making It by Jay Blades. Jay Blades is of course a very popular TV presenter. He presents The Repair Shop amongst other things, and he has gone through a lot of hardships in his life, but this book is the story of how love, kindness and community helped him repair his life. It's even got a blurb on the cover here from Leanne from Little Mix. She said that she couldn't put it down, so I would take her word for it. Then we have a cozy paperback, The Village Green Bookshop by Rachel Lucas. So this is set in the same cute little Cotswolds village as the Telephone Box Library, if you've read and loved that one. So this one is about a woman called Hannah who takes over the post office in this little village, but finds that life in this very tight little village isn't always as welcoming as she would want it to be. There's a lot of gossip. It's a very tight-knit community where everyone knows each other. Even her plan to introduce a little bookshop to the post office causes a stir because it's change, it's something new, but it's going to turn into a heartwarming story of good books and good friends. But it's also got a little bit of drama in it. A secret from Hannah's family's past threatens to uproot their new life at one point. And then we're going into space for Shards of Earth by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Why did they strike and where are they now? So this is the first book in what's going to be a new trilogy from Adrian Tchaikovsky, the Final Architecture trilogy. So this one is about a world in which 80 years ago, Earth was completely destroyed by an alien enemy. Millions of people died, but many did escape, and mankind, to defend themselves, created these enhanced humans, such as our main character Idris, who could communicate mind to mind with the alien enemies who had destroyed Earth. But then these enemies, called architects, completely disappeared, and Idris and other enhanced humans like him became obsolete. But now, we are 80 years on, and Idris and his crew have discovered something strange in space that seems to be the work of the architects. Are they coming back? And then we have the cutest little dog on the cover of Greyfriars Bobby by Eleanor Atkinson. I always love when there are new MCLs, new additions to the Macmillan Collectors Library. This is maybe my favourite cover yet. Anything with a dog that cute on it, I'm going to have to buy for my shelves. So you probably already know the story of Greyfriars Bobby. It's based on a true story, and it's basically about the story of this incredible bond between a dog and a human. Even the dog going on to guard his owner's grave for many years after he dies. You might cry. And then we have another new MCL, Kidnapped by Robert Louis Stevenson. So Robert Louis Stevenson is the author of Treasure Island, also the author of The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Kidnapped is possibly less famous these days than those two, but it's still a beloved classic. It is a swashbuckling novel about a young boy who is forced to go to sea and then gets caught up in this whole daring adventure. Okay, next in here we have Catch the Rabbit by Lana Bastersheets. I actually have the physical copy on my desk, so let me just grab it. This is such a fun, colourful cover. I'm really excited to read this one. This is about two old friends who reunite for a road trip across Bosnia to try and track down the missing brother of one of them. He has been missing, presumed dead, ever since the Bosnian War, but only these two girls believe he might still be alive. And it's kind of split between different timelines, so each chapter is divided into the first section, which is set in present day on this road trip, and then the second section, which recollects some of their shared experiences from their friendship many years before. They had drifted and they've now reunited for this road trip, and you get to see how the two girls remember these shared events very differently sometimes. Alright, back into my computer. Next we have How to Save a Life by Eva Carter. I do have this one physically, but I just have my proof copy. I don't yet have this lovely finished version. But How to Save a Life by Eva Carter is going to be such a big book club book, I'm predicting. We did a read along with a group of Instagrammers when we read this book, and everyone just loved it so much. It's about these three main characters. It begins on the eve of the millennium when these three are teenagers. They're all at a New Year's party, and then one of them collapses. The other two are both aspiring doctors, and one of them manages to go over and keep him alive, giving him CPR. The other one freezes and panics. So then the events of this night affect all three of these characters in different ways throughout their lives, and we get to follow them through the years, seeing how their lives change and continue to intersect with each other's. And it's really lovely, and it gets very deep. There's a lot of issues explored in here, and the author Eva Carter was actually inspired to write it because of her own experience when her husband suffered heart failure, and she managed to keep him alive using CPR until the paramedics arrived. And so throughout the book is scattered information about what to do in that situation. Okay, then we've got, oh, this looks like a poetry collection, Hotel Raphael by Rachel Boast. Okay, let's see what it says about it. So this is actually Rachel Boast's fourth poetry collection, and it says it charts a journey through heat, drought and pain, and describes not only the reality of chronic illness, but living with it at a time of global crisis. Wow, that sounds really powerful, and also a reality for a lot of people, so I think a lot of people will find words to help them in this collection. Okay, next we have The Harpy by Megan Hunter. This is the paperback. I just recently did a video on paperbacks that have just come out, if you've been holding out for them, and also comparing the covers of the hardbacks versus the paperbacks. I will link to that video below if you're interested. The Harpy is a really dark fairy tale about revenge and about metamorphosis of the mind and body. It's a very unsettling and unique story. On the surface, it's about a marriage in which it is revealed that the husband has been cheating on the wife, and so they agree that the wife is allowed to hurt him back 3 times to settle the score. But in reality, the book is about so much more than that. You're gonna have to read it to truly understand the depths. Okay, next, we have Fake Law by The Secret Barrister. I also put that one in the video about new paperbacks that have just come out. So this is The Truth About Justice in an Age of Lies. The Secret Barrister is a real barrister whose identity is kept hidden so that they can reveal a lot of truths from behind the scenes of the law. It's absolutely fascinating stuff. Then we have a new Peter James novel, Left You Dead. So this is a new book in the Roy Grace series. If you've been watching that series on TV, it is inspired by Peter James's books. So in this one, Niall and Eden Paternoster start their Sunday the same way they always do, with a long drive, a visit to a country house, and a quick stop at the local supermarket on the way home. But this Sunday ends differently, because while Niall waits and waits in the car park for Eden to pick up supplies, Eden never returns. Oh boy, so Niall gets arrested on suspicion of her murder, and it's up to DS Roy Grace to realise that nothing is quite what it seems. Then we have, what is this? The Tyrant by Seth Dickinson. There's always at least one book in all of these videos that I haven't yet heard of. There's just so many amazing books that come out of Pam Millen every month. There's always some surprises. So let's find out about this one together. Okay, so The Tyrant is actually the 3rd book in Seth Dickinson's fantasy quartet Masquerade. So Put in the comments below if you are a fan of this series. I have somehow missed it. The Tyrant is a sweeping fantasy of empire and intrigue. After years of service to the corrupt Imperial Republic of Falcrest, Baru Cormorant finally knows how to destroy it. She's discovered a deadly, weaponized blood plague, and if she releases it, the epidemic will kill millions. Not just in Falcrest, but worldwide. Yikes! Okay, then we have Circus of Wonders by Elizabeth McNeil. I'm so excited about this one. I have my finished copy. Where is it? It's downstairs. I'm actually going to get it because it's so beautiful. You should see the real book. Here it is, Circus of Wonders. So Elizabeth McNeil is the author who wrote The Doll Factory, which was another really buzzed about historical fiction. That one was set in the world of artists and painters and collectors. This time we're moving to the world of the circus. So I talked about this book recently in a video all about books set in the circus. I will link to that below if you want to check it out. This is about Nellie Moon, who is nicknamed the Leopard Girl because of her very distinctive birthmarks that cover her skin. And she is basically sold into the circus by her father, and she becomes their star aerialist. So she is absolutely adored by the public, but she is also being very controlled and manipulated by Jasper, who owns the circus. And Elizabeth McNeil is just brilliant at bringing characters to life in all of their moral greyness. She doesn't have straightforward heroes and villains. You really believe in every character, even the ones who slightly maybe creep you out a bit. Okay, then we have Going with the Boys by Judith Mackerel. So this is another non-fiction about 6 extraordinary women writing from the front line. So the book follows 6 women, 6 female journalists writing from the front lines of the Second World War. And these women include Martha Gellhorn, who was married at the time to Ernest Hemingway. Also the artist Lee Miller is in here. These are 6 really, really remarkable women who kind of changed the rules of what war reporting could be and also of what women could bring to that field. Next, oh, it's a new edition of The Kindness Method by Shrew Izadi. I loved this book. I actually did a video a few years ago when I first started here on Book Break with Shrew Izadi, where I used this book to help me change some of my habits around the way I use my phone. It's really a method that you can use to help you change any habits, all through being kind to yourself and not judging yourself. It's the most important thing. It says on the front here, it's the most effective and most enjoyable way to change your habits, and that's really important. Then another pretty pale blue one, Pandora's Jar by Natalie Haynes. So this is Natalie Haynes' non-fiction book about women in the Greek myths. She is very well known and very beloved for her fictional retellings of Greek myths that centre women's stories. So 1,000 Ships is her retelling of the Iliad, essentially, of the Trojan War. And Children of Jocasta is her retelling of the story of Oedipus and Antigone. But if you want to really dig deep into the history of these stories and the roles that women originally played, and then the ways they were written out of these stories and then written back in, and how men have often retold these stories to just see the women as kind of vengeful, jealous monsters, essentially, in these stories, this is your book. This is a really well-researched history of women's role in Greek myths. Next is The Melting by Lisa Spitz. Okay, so this is a very, very dark book. This is a story of revenge. It's about a young woman going back to the town where she grew up with a block of ice in the boot of her car, ready to settle the score for what happened to her 15 summers before. It is not a book for the faint-hearted. I have been warned that you have to have a strong stomach maybe to read parts of this book, but I have also heard, I haven't yet been brave enough to face it myself, I have also heard that it is fantastic, and that if you are up for reading some very, very dark scenes, this book is really powerful and hits really hard. Okay, we have just one more in the email, and that is The Missing Sister by Lucinda Riley. This is a book a lot of people have been waiting for. So this is the 7th book in the Seven Sisters series. So far we have met 6 sisters, and each book has followed each sister going on a journey to discover their true heritage and the mysteries from their past. But there is a missing sister, And in this book, we are finally going to find out who she is and where she is. So the sisters are going to unite in this mission. They only have one clue, which is an image of a star-shaped emerald ring. And this search for the missing sister is going to take them across the globe and uncover this amazing story that actually started 100 years before. So let us know in the comments below which of those you are most excited about. I will also link here to a playlist of all of our other book haul videos, and I will also link here to the video I mentioned about paperbacks you've been holding out for that have just come out in paperback in the last few months. So do click through to either of these to watch what you want to watch next, and I'll see you next time.